in 5, 3, 2, 1, go!
20.5 is open and ready for fitness.
They have 40 of these to complete.
As we tackle the final event of the 2020 CrossFit Games Open, a choose your own adventure, 40 ring muscle ups, 80 cals on the row, and 120 wall ball shots. Both athletes starting off with ring muscle ups.
So as we kind of expect, Pat Vellner's cycle rate is a little faster here. Pat did the 30 ring muscle ups 4 times at the CrossFit Games in 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Those are on some long straps. Now you can see here, Pat's losing his rhythm just a little bit there, but he's still going to keep going. I don't think he's going to break, and he's broken at 11. Pat, 12, okay. So maybe what Pat's going to do here is you can see he's probably going to use his triceps a little more on the wall balls, right? And then he's going to use his pull on the row. He's got strong lats, so he's going to use up the pull on the row, refresh on the row after these wall balls, and then get into, another big set of ring muscle ups.
We are just a minute into this event. You can look at the top left part of your screen. That is your rep counter. Vellner is moving to the wall balls. Annie is going to the row after her first set of ring muscle ups. The total number of reps to achieve in this event is 240 for both athletes. And we said earlier, this is a choose your own adventure style. Annie and Pat both started on the rings. Annie moving to the row, Pat to the wall ball shot, and he has yet to put that ball down.
Yeah, he's moving a lot, and something you're going to notice here is that obviously reps are ticking away a lot faster for Pat than Annie, who's on the rower, but the strategies are in stark contrast to one another right now. We see Annie getting back on the rings, almost making a little bit of a couplet for herself, and it's going to be interesting because like we alluded to, the triceps on the wall ball and the muscle up, your lockout might actually get fatigued. So the first thing I noticed, Annie's super smart. She's going a pull and a pull, but she's not worried about the push, and that could be maybe the hardest part of the muscle up for her.
When you think about when you put wall balls into a movement or a workout like this that have muscle ups, is I think people underestimate the taxing part of the wall ball being the tricep. Yeah. And what's the most difficult thing other than getting on top of the rings is trying to get above them with that ring dip.
Exactly. Now, I've just done a little bit of math here, and I've got a bit of a prediction on absolute kind of best case scenario time. We're looking at about 15 minutes here. So if you're doing 40 ring muscle ups, let's say you can do them unbroken, which isn't going to happen, but let's say you're going to get 40 ring muscle ups unbroken. That's going to take you about 2 minutes and 10 seconds for these athletes. Wall balls, you're looking at about 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Let's say 4 minutes, we'll round it up for 120 reps. And then on the row, that's obviously where you're trying to figure out what kind of pace they're going to be holding on the row. If you're holding an aggressive pace, let's say that's 1350 cals per hour, probably a little faster than we can expect from these athletes. That's 14 minutes and 50 seconds. So with transitions, they're going to get fairly close, potentially to 20 minutes. That's some rough calculations, but they're going to be in this for a while.
Here's the thing I find interesting is the complete different strategies we have between Annie Thorisdottir and Patrick Vellner. Annie is back on the rings. It looks like to me she has been doing about 5 or 6 muscle ups every time she's got to the rings, where Vellner is going back and forth between the rings and the wall ball shots. Neither one is doing that third movement between the two of them.
It goes to show that the transition time is something they've taken into account, and they don't want to be going around in a merry-go-round from one movement to another. But now is that we see the first time that we see Pat getting on that rower, and he's at 89 reps, and he's at 52. It's interesting to see at what point in the time, as we're about 4 minutes in, do we start to see a leveling of the playing field?
Now, Brent, I got a question for you, is that if you're looking at Annie's strategy, we talked about how the muscle ups can be interfered with the wall ball shots. Annie not having a strong skill set on the rings as, say, maybe Vellner does, who is finally on the rower for the first time. Do you kind of think the strategy Annie's going is a couplet between her and the row and just saving those wall balls for one big shot at the end? Could you look at her? She is a beast out there. When you give an athlete like Annie Thorisdottir a 14-pound ball and a 9-foot target, 120 wall ball shots isn't really one thing she's really going to be afraid of.
No, I'm sure Annie can do 150 wall balls unbroken or more. Now, I'm quickly going to go back to my earlier prediction. I clicked on the wrong cell on my formula here. We're looking more at about 10 minutes. So sorry, 10 minutes if they were to go unbroken. So
I believed you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So
you say it with
10 minutes if
conviction.
they're going unbroken. So we're probably looking more like 12 to 13 for the top scores. Today, if they could go around 12 minutes, I think that'd be a pretty solid score for their first attempt. But you're right. I know for me, I'm really confident in doing large sets of wall balls unbroken at the end of a workout. So I'm thinking Annie has the same mentality.
Annie's sticking with the 5 reps on the ring so far. We are just past the 5-minute mark. Vellner just finished his first row, back on the rings, moving back to the rower. Now, when you looked at the back and forth, I'm sure he was probably thinking maybe 3 sets of 40 or something close to that on the wall ball shots. But look at the rep discrepancy so far. And I think that's just a product of cows versus wall ball shots, right? One's a little bit faster than the other.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think this is, as we watch them go, I think that you're noticing that what you said, right, 100%, if Andy hops on that wall ball, she's not putting it down. So she's clearly saying, hey, I got to get through the muscle ups. And then the row is its active recovery, essentially. And then when she gets on the wall ball, it's time to burn it to the ground.
And this is the most exciting part about this event in particular, because there is so many different ways to do this.
Yeah.
How amazing would it be to see it come down to maybe Vellner struggling through some muscle ups when he's absolutely gassed, and Andy just charging through those last 120 wall ball shots. We have yet to determine which direction they're going to go, but I actually think Pat may be close, at least half or 75% of his wall balls completed already.
That's right. I mean, I think with Pat, I think this is probably going into his potentially last set of ring muscle ups. I know he started with about, was it 12?
Yeah.
Let's say he went 12, maybe he got 10, 8, 8, something like that. So if he can get so he's got 4 reps left on the muscle ups. Now this gets interesting. If he fails a rep here, is he gonna run back, start, let's say, his row or his wall balls? Ooh. Or is he going to wait under the rings to get that one last rep?
137 reps completed by Pat Vellner. If you subtract the 40 muscle-ups, that's 97 completed between the row and the wall ball. So he does not have to go back to the rings, as we are 7 minutes into a 20-minute AMRAP. Annie Thorisdottir still sticking with her plan to mix between the rower and the rings only.
Yeah, and she's down to some smaller sets on that muscle up now, which I think is, at some point, are we going to see the couplet continue, or is she going to take a break? But you can see she's committed to this strategy: row, wall ball, and it's going to be interesting to see how fast she can now, when she gets done with them, take away those wall ball reps compared to Pat.
That's right. I'm curious to see how many calories Annie has, because pretty quickly she's going to be done on that row, right? And so if she's not done her wall ball or her ring muscle ups at that point, then she's going to be alternating maybe one more set between ring and wall ball. Probably not something she wants to do. I'm sure her triceps are already pretty fatigued. I think I might have seen that classic Annie Thorisdottir smile there. That might have been her signaling she finished her ring muscle ups. I could be wrong. It's hard. It's hard to know as a spectator right now who's in the lead, how many reps they have left, and what their finishing time is going to look like.
Vellner on the right, Annie Thorisdottir on her left. You can look at the top left corner of your screen. Total reps completed. Vellner approaching 160. That means he'll have 80 total reps to go, and that'll be between the rower and the wall ball shots, because he is done with his ring muscle ups. So we're past the 8-minute mark. Annie on the left side, 60 reps behind him, but she has done a lot more cows on the row up into this point, and she still has yet to pick up that med ball.
I just heard the announcer on the floor say Vellner with 50 wall balls left. That was about 20 seconds ago. So that's going to, let's say, that's 10 wall balls. So we have 40 wall balls left now. And then I'm thinking he's going to get back to the row. He's got 30 wall balls left and maybe 30 calorie row left. So he's going to burn it out on the rower. Super smart to finish on the row. Yeah. And you can really hammer those cows from the 30 cows. If Vellner's fresh, he's just going to hammer these and then hold on the wall ball. And like I said, I have the time here, 9:45 if he's going fast. So I'm thinking probably 11 minutes for Vellner.
Super smart to finish on the row, but not super fun to finish on the row.
No.
Yeah, and it looks like, Annie's back on the rings again, and we're 30 calories left we see for Vellner right now. So with 30 calories left, I mean, he can, like you said, really start to burn to the ground and get that done in maybe 90 seconds or so.
There she is. There's that smile.
Here we go. She's onto the wall balls
Annie
now.
Thorisdottir picks up the med ball for the first time. She's 70 reps behind Vellner as we're closing in on that 10-minute mark.
I think that I'm curious to see what kind of sets now Annie's capable of. She's going to right now she's going to be doing the math in her head, maybe even asking her judge, how many calories do I have left on the rower? She knows how many wall balls she has left. She has 120. She's probably chipped away maybe 10 to 15 at the time we've been talking.
She was done at about, I think it was 120 with the total reps. So if we're talking about 40, so she's I mean, by that math, she's actually done with the row.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
So is this the final 120 reps that Annie has?
Almost Karen to finish out the go workout, which is 150
Shorter
wall
Karen
balls.
and less reps when you're talking about one of the fittest women, fittest athletes in general in the world with Annie Thorisdottir.
I mean, we're closing in on the final 30 reps for Pat here right now.
That's right. Yeah.
So I mean, I think he might be done on that rower. If not, he might just have a few cals left. But I mean, Annie just broke the wall ball.
Yeah, super impressive time here by Pat. I'd be curious to know what he held on the rower. I'm guessing that over 1250 cals per hour, probably more like 1350, but depending on the time of the workout. I mean, he looks great right now, and Annie looks really good. I think she dropped the wall balls at once.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Okay.
we're closing in on the final 10 reps here.
Total reps to complete is 240, and it looks like Vellner is trying to close out his last set of wall balls.
Okay,
so
10
saving 10 cals on the row to finish.
What a beauty. Full send.
That's right.
That's 10 hard pulls. You can tell his legs are extremely tired. He's not bringing his butt all
Not
over
even
his
bending
field.
those things.
Just trying to reef on it. Almost sub 11. I think that's going to be a really, really good time, but I know Vellner doesn't like to redo these.
Patrick Vellner, 2 pulls to go. That'll do it. Vellner will take 20.5.
Oh, man.
Right around a time of 11:15.
Man, that
hurts at the end.
That did not look like it was a lot of fun, and I feel bad for Vellner having to do this with no data to go on. And I mean, he's just going to learn so much by talking to so many other athletes to give this a crack. And I'm sure he's thinking that now. I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that. But it was great performance. I mean, 11:15 seems like a really solid time.
Right. You know, and I think right now we have to draw some scope to what we see Annie doing. Where she made those 40 muscle ups look pretty effortless, and I think that it's easy to forget that that's a lot of muscle ups for a lot of the female athletes. So I think where she is at with she's going to storm through these wall balls with minimal breaks. I think it was really smart to lay off of that tricep piece, and I think that's probably was the thinking. And the pull is clearly not her weakness. We know that she can power clean the world. So
Yeah.
it's that finish, and there's some good strategy there.
And I think that strategy specifically to Annie, taller athlete, stronger athlete, larger athlete, not as well versed on the rings as say maybe a shorter one who can dance all the rings all day. So that's where the fun part about this is going to happen, because if you have a female athlete who can just rip through muscle ups, you look at it like a Kristen Holt or a Carrie Pierce, right?
Yeah.
Even a Tia Claire too. I mean, let's not forget some of these athletes, but how are they going to break up that a little bit more? It's like, do you save a row towards the end that's a bit more strenuous in terms of speed, or some wall balls with a shorter target?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a difficult thing. I think no matter who you are, if you can do muscle ups, you got to get most of them done in the beginning and then pair them with a movement, or maybe both the movements that feel easier. Annie Thorisdottir closing it out here, about 20 reps left.
Yeah. And the first thing that's coming to mind here as well is just certainly like for your athletes, your affiliates, is just really starting to write down all different types of rep schemes. Here's just models. And I think that can be really helpful. I mean, we've seen 2 models very different, and I think there's a lot of value there.
Absolutely. Let's cheer on Annie here.
Bringing it home.
7 reps left. Impressive final set after all that work to hold onto that wall ball for what looked like a set of 40.
Yeah.
Annie Thorisdottir closing it out in style in front of a big crowd here at Reebok CrossFit. 240 is the number to get to, and she's got there right around 13:49. As we close out your top 2 athletes here for 20.5. And just looking at this, very excited, very nervous. And I think we're just so much in the air in terms of what is possible.
Yeah.
It's really hard to gauge exactly right off the bat how this is going to go.
I'm